A girl studying in a university in Banting tells the tale of an unexplainable event that happens in one of the bathrooms. On the third floor, there was a bathroom that was thought as haunted because when the girls shower there, the water would suddenly turn to a boiling hot temperature, causing the girls to run out in their towels, screaming in pain. It should be impossible because there are no heaters in any of the showers in that building, so the water was only supposed to be either cold or room temperature. She later found out that before the university was built, it was a chemical factory. Rumor has it that the factory was eventually shut down due to too many employees dying from chemical burns. But what makes the bathroom even more scary is on some nights you can even hear the tires of an old trolley screeching in a very slow, rhythmic pattern. A story based from a university in Miri, Sarawak. Like most universities and schools, the people that spend the most time exploring the building aren't the students, but the guards. Apparently this lady spoke to some of the guards regarding ghost stories that take place on the campus. This is what they said. While making their rounds past the library, they saw a woman in white sitting on the counter. But just like that, it disappeared. The cleaners have also told stories of hearing and seeing unexplainable things in the early mornings before staff members arrive, like chairs moving on their own, shadows of people in corners, voices of people having a discussion, and more. The guards have also told them stories of people whispering your name in the late nights with nobody around. But there's more. Her friends have told her stories that they faced in the engineering building of banging noises in the bathrooms and voices coming from the cubicles. What's worse is that her friends have even seen strange looking people that would gather at a very tiny island located in the middle of the lake where nobody goes. During a semester break, the university is at its most quiet. One day in the late evening, a student was involved in welcoming the new students to the university as part of the committee and was required to prepare the hall for the upcoming students. They were in the examination hall when a friend of hers asked her to accompany her to the toilet. This toilet was at the very end of this large hall, and in order for you to get there, you would most definitely need to pass the surau. The corridor was dimly lit, and the surau was pitch black. As they passed the surau, they could hear children laughing in the dark surau. They were playing. They were shocked and looked in the dark room, but they saw no one. It gave them goosebumps, and they were so scared they didn't even know how to react and went straight to the toilet as fast as they could and stayed alert the entire time before rushing back to the hall. They could never explain what they heard. Like every university student, getting to an ATM machine can be a pain, but luckily for this student it was right at the entrance of her block. So the student went down to get some cash somewhere around 9 at night. She started feeling a little uneasy as she made her way down, almost lightheaded. As she walked her way towards the ATM, the feelings started to get stronger. By the time she reached the machine, her feelings were so intense. She felt paranoid and looked around, feeling like she was being watched and preyed upon. Then suddenly the sounds of crickets stopped. She could hear a laughter that sounded like it was coming closer to her, getting louder and louder every second. And the only source of light was a lamppost outside the block, leaving her in a low-lighted, eerie place, hearing sounds she can't see. Then it stopped. Based in a university in Kedah, having the habit to return to uni a day before the classes start after having long breaks to avoid massive jams, this student would regret this. After a long weekend from the festive event of Hari Raya Haji, this student made her way back to uni a day before her classes start. leaving her and the entire hostel almost completely empty. As time approached 11 at night, leaving her book as it is on the table after studying and heading to bed, leaving only her study lamp to dimly light up the room. As she tried to fall asleep, she heard an unusual sound. The sound of rustling, like the pages of her book flipping. It freaked her out as she looked towards her study table. She saw nothing. She tried going back to sleep, and as she was about to drift away, she heard something scratching the mosquito netting on the window. It shook her, and she went to look behind her curtains, but again there was nothing there. Finally, she tried going back to sleep once more, and that's when she heard 2 distinct knocks on her door. Thinking it was some students playing around in the hostel, she ignored it. Lying in bed and feeling so tired, she suddenly had this feeling of something very heavy pressing onto her chest. Trying to fight the feeling by tossing and turning, she finally opened her eyes. She saw a black figure sitting at the end of her bed with its eyes staring directly into hers. After a while of struggling, she saw it leap from her bed to her roommate's bed, and then it disappeared. The next day, her roommate asked her why she didn't answer the door, and said she was knocking on the door persistently at around 11 at night. It gave her chills as she realized that the entire time she tried to sleep, she didn't even notice or hear anything of her roommate. This is Storytime, the series where I tell you stories based on true events shared by people who wish to share their scariest moments. This concludes this story. Please don't forget to subscribe to Defies, like and share this video. This is Defies. See you next time.